Welcome to our journey back in time, to an era of explosive creativity and cultural rebirth, the Renaissance, specifically the Elizabethan Age, from 1500 to 1600. This was unjust decade of new art and exploration. It was, without a doubt, the golden age of drama. Imagine a world buzzing with new ideas, where learning was rediscovered, and stories came alive on stage like never before. The theater wasn't just entertainment. It was the heart of society, a place where people from all walks of life gathered to be moved, to laugh, and to think. This flourishing of drama and poetry gave us some of the most enduring works in the English language. At the very center of this creative storm was, of course, William Shakespeare. His name is synonymous with the era, and for good reason. From the star-crossed lovers in Romeo and Juliet to the tragic ambition of Macbeth and the existential questions in Hamlet, Shakespeare's plays explored the deepest corners of human nature. He mastered comedies, tragedies, and histories, and his characters feel as real and relatable today as they did 400 years ago. His command of language, his invention of words, and his profound insights into love, jealousy, power, and mortality are simply unparalleled. Think about it, phrases we use every day, like break the ice or wild goose chase, came from his quill. But Shakespeare wasn't the only star in this theatrical galaxy. Let's talk about Christopher Marlowe. Often seen as Shakespeare's great rival, Marlowe was a trailblazer in his own right. He was a rock star of the Elizabethan stage, charismatic, controversial, and brilliant. His play Dr. Faustus, about a scholar who sells his soul to the devil for knowledge and power, is a masterpiece of tragedy and psychological depth. Marlowe's powerful and poetic style, known as the mighty line, pushed the boundaries of what was possible in English drama, and heavily influenced Shakespeare and many others. His life was as dramatic as his plays, cut short in a mysterious tavern brawl, leaving us to wonder what other masterpieces he might have created. Beyond these two giants, there were other important playwrights who shaped the scene. Ben Jonson, for example, was known for his sharp, satirical comedies like Volpone and The Alchemist. He was a master of wit and social commentary, often poking fun at the greed and foolishness he saw in London society. Unlike the sprawling, epic nature of Shakespeare's work, Jonson's plays were often more structured and classical, but no less brilliant. He was a scholar, a poet, and a fiercely independent artist. So, what were these plays all about? The themes were as grand and complex as the era itself. Love, in all its forms, was a constant source of inspiration, from the giddy romance of A Midsummer Night's Dream to the destructive passion of Othello. The pursuit of power and ambition drove characters to greatness and to ruin. Think of Richard III, scheming his way to the throne, or the corrupting influence of power in almost any of Shakespeare's historical plays. They were fascinated by human nature, our flaws, our strengths, our capacity for both incredible good and terrible evil. These writers held a mirror up to society, exploring morality, justice, and the very meaning of existence. The physical theaters themselves were an experience. The Globe Theatre, Shakespeare's famous playhouse, was an open-air, circular building. Wealthier patrons could sit in the galleries, but the common folk, known as groundlings, would stand in the open yard in front of the stage, right in the thick of the action. There was no fancy lighting or elaborate sets. The power of the performance relied on the actor's skills and the playwright's words. The audience was loud and interactive, cheering the heroes and booing the villains. It was a communal, electric atmosphere, far from the quiet, reserved theater experiences we often have today. This dramatic revolution didn't happen in a vacuum. The Renaissance was a time of immense change across Europe. The invention of the printing press meant that ideas and texts, including plays, could be spread more widely than ever before. This rebirth of classical learning from ancient Greece and Rome provided new models and stories for writers to adapt. And in England, Queen Elizabeth I herself was a great patron of the arts. Her long and stable reign provided the peace and prosperity necessary for culture to flourish. She loved the theater, and her support gave playwrights the freedom and encouragement to create their groundbreaking work. The influence of Elizabethan drama is impossible to overstate. These plays established English as a powerful literary language. They created character archetypes and story structures that are still used in our movies, TV shows, and books today. The tortured hero, the witty sidekick, The tragic villain, their roots can often be traced back to the stages of Elizabethan London. Shakespeare, Marlowe, and their contemporaries didn't just write plays. They helped shape the way we tell stories and understand ourselves. So, the next time you watch a film about a power-hungry politician, or read a story about forbidden love, take a moment to remember the golden age of drama. This incredible period, bursting with talent and ambition, laid the foundation for so much of our modern culture. It was a time when words had the power to build worlds, and the stage was the most exciting place on earth. It truly was a rebirth of storytelling, and its echoes continue to resonate with us centuries later. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Elizabethan stage. If you enjoyed this journey back in time, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure into history. See you next time.